You ever have one of those moments that just completely fucking trips you up and makes you stop and question how you're showing up and like how people see you and what the hell are you even doing all of this for? Because same, this episode came from one of those moments, and if you've ever felt like you're carrying a little too much on your own, this one might hit home for you as well. Let's talk about it. So the other day, I overheard a coworker talking, and she mistakenly thought someone else was me coming in the morning and said, "Oh, I thought it was Missy, but I was confused because she's never in a good mood." And ouch, that fucking hurt. Why did that hurt? Because I don't want to be seen in that way, and that sucks. And I had to really question whether it was true or not. And the reality of it is, it's not that I'm never in a good mood. It's just that I roll up to work with my fucking serious face on because typically I'm walking into some kind of bullshit that has to be dealt with, and I'm carrying the weight of the world on my fucking shoulders, and I'm here to just attack the plan. And that's my mood. It's not that I'm not in a good mood. It's just that I'm like here to work, and I show up and I'm like ready to fucking jump in and get to work. So, and I do it gladly, and I do it for all of them, and I do it so that they don't have to worry. But the facts are, like, I just have to come in and be like boss lady Missy when I get here. And I'm not chipper, happy, like, good morning, the sun's awake, so I'm awake kind of Missy. Like, that's just, ugh, like, I can't be that. I have to come in and fucking handle business. And I'm here to do the business stuff, and I'm here to get shit done. And that, maybe it does come off like I'm in a bad mood. And I know I'm aware of my face, guys. I know I have a bitchy face. It's just, I can't help it. It's just how my face looks. But it doesn't mean I'm angry or I'm in a bad mood. It's just my serious face looks real fucking mean, real bitchy. But I don't expect them to understand. And I don't expect them to come into work and just be ready to fucking grind out the gate the way that I am either. Like, that's where we just exist in two entirely different universes, and that's okay, I guess. But at the same time, it just really hit me like how lonely it can actually be in here sometimes being the boss, because they don't get it, because they don't understand me. And I know that I can't possibly be the only one that feels this way, but I don't really see other people talking about it online and like other podcasts and things. So fuck it. I'm gonna be the one to address it. The big lonely fucking elephant in the room. It's fucking lonely being the boss. It's rough out here. And I know a lot of listeners are probably not shop owners or, business owners, and you're probably not the boss. But even so, maybe you can get some insight what it's like on the other side of things, and maybe understand your boss a little bit better by listening. But there it is. I said it. It's lonely. It's lonely being the boss. And yes, I get that I asked for this, that I did this to myself. I understand that. But why is it like this? Well, if I had to sum it all up in a short sentence, I would say that being the boss is lonely because you have deliberately signed up to be in this abusive and isolating relationship with your business and your employees. And I've kind of come up with a list of what I have pinpointed as the problems and the reasons that I feel this way. And I've come up with a few solutions. We'll see. We'll see if they are actual solutions once I try putting them into action. But reason number one, you're the boss. Like, there will always be the divide. There will always be the boss, the employees, the boss and the artist. Like, there's always going to be a divide. No matter how close you are with people, you're always going to be seen as the boss, and there always will be that separation. As much as you try to deny it and as much as you try to pretend it's not like that, it's fucking like that. And that's just the way it is. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a bad thing always, but like they're always going to see you that way. And sometimes there's been times in the past where I've forgotten that. I thought it was different with us. I thought that we were coworkers, I thought that we were friends and we're like family. And the fact is, like, you're just the boss. You're always the boss. Number 2, you lead by example. So being the example means literally that you have to separate yourself from the others, and everything that you do is under a microscope, and it's going to be judged for good, for bad, or ugly. It's the little things that you do that matter day in, day out, and you have to be almost hyper aware of everything you do. So there is no chill. Like there's no like letting your guard down. It's I mean, it happens, but it's like you're always in the back of your mind aware of how you appear to everyone else and what kind of example you're setting for everyone else, because everything that you do is going to get watered down by the people that you work with. So if you're not on top of your game, consider that like they're going to do 10% less, like they're going to be a little bit less. And then, whoever, so say you have a manager and they have people underneath them working for them, they're going to be a little more watered down. So like you have to be on top of your fucking game, and just, by definition, being the example, like you're setting yourself apart, you're isolating yourself. Number 3, you become the person that everyone comes to with their problems or their questions and their issues. And you're always there to be the leader and to support and to check in with everyone else. But it doesn't ever really feel reciprocated. No one ever asks, how are you doing? like how, I mean, maybe they'll say like, how's it going? How was your weekend? Or whatever. But they don't really want to know what's going on. They don't really want to hear the ins and outs of like what I'm going through and what I'm dealing with. I know that. I'm not going to bore them with my, fucking business owner problems. I know when they say, how are you? They want to know, like, I actually don't know what they want to know. What do they want to know? But like, they definitely don't want to know, like, my fucking P&L and like all that kind of shit. They want to know, like, am I having a good day? Am I in a good mood? Maybe that's the question. Are you in a good mood today or bad? How should we gauge this? But you're there for them. You're there to support them. And you don't really have that person that's really checking in with you and supporting you in your business. If you're the, top of the fucking food chain, as it were, like no one's checking in with you and making sure that you're hitting your goals, or, how, how things are going for you. Number 4, you have to make decisions that won't necessarily make everyone happy. They might be the best for everyone in the shop. They might be the best for the business, but not everyone's going to agree. And not everyone is going to like the way that you handle things. There's always going to be other opinions, and there's always going to be people who think they would have done a better job, or they would have handled it differently. So again, like everything you do is under a fucking microscope. So you're making decisions that from your experience and everything that you've gone through is the right answer for your business, the way you want it to run. And there's always going to be other opinions, and they're not always going to agree with you. And that also feels kind of isolating, especially when I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but say I have to make a big decision in the business, and I know they're not going to understand why I'm making this decision. I'm going to do my best to explain it, but they don't have the years and years of experience and like just stored information that I have of ways that I've tried other things and it failed, or, they don't have that experience to base the decision on. So when they hear how I'm going to handle it and they don't agree, there's only so much explaining I can do to convey why I came to that decision. And, part of me feels like I don't have to explain myself. I do my best anyway, but there's always going to be that kind of a divide. Number 5, you feel unseen and misunderstood. So like I was just saying, they don't know what you know. They don't have the history and the experience that you have. They don't fully understand the reasons behind the things you do, and they may secretly question your choices and behaviors unfairly because they don't have all the information. And not just with business decisions, but just how you handle things day in, day out. They're not going to understand most of what you do. They're not going to understand most of what you focus on. They're not going to understand your work ethic. They're not going to understand that you don't, there's going to be times where you don't get to just like go home and have a great weekend. Like your weekend is still like you're still here, like hanging out at the business, like doing business stuff. And they're like, oh, you should just take a break. And they don't understand that, it's different. There's like a million more things happening behind the scenes than they could possibly comprehend. Number 6, internalizing thoughts and fears and dreams. So to some extent, you have to keep things to yourself. Like, it's not always appropriate to share everything. There's always going to be things that you're having to hold back, and that can make you feel really isolated a lot of times. Like I'm not being a good friend because I'm not telling you everything. But if it's not appropriate, like there has to be that line, and that's where it gets real blurry when you're really close with the people that work for you, because you want to be able to tell them everything. You want to tell them like all the things that you're going through and all of the, plans that you're making and, the ups and downs of businesses. But there has to be things that you hold back. There has to be things that you're not telling them. And it just kind of makes you feel like a disconnect. Number 7, there's no one to celebrate your wins with. So kind of going back to what I was saying about them, like asking like, how are you? They're not going to care. Like, they're not going to care that I hit a sales goal, or they're not going to care that like I learned how to do fucking Facebook ads and shit like that. I'm not going to bore them with that shit. They're not going to care. They're not going to understand. They're not going to see things as wins. Like, the things that I see as wins, they're not going to matter to them because they're working on entirely different things. Like when your goals are so far removed from the things that they're working on day to day and the goals that they set for themselves, and it just doesn't even seem like worth mentioning, like to talk about with them. We have our weekly meetings where everyone in the shop will talk about like, these are my wins from last week, and this is what I'm working on this week, and these are my goals going forward. And I kind of like, I fucking water them down. I'm like, yeah, I'm working on whatever, insert bullshit here, because like they don't fucking care. I'm not gonna bore them with that shit. Like in reality, my to-do list is gonna be like a million things long. They don't fucking care. I'm not gonna bore them with that. So yeah, it's just that they don't get it. I'm not gonna waste my time trying to like get them invested in what I'm doing just to let myself down. So I just don't even bother. Number 8, you carry the weight of everyone's success and failure on your shoulders. You're always concerned with everyone else's well-being. And again, it's not something that is or could be reciprocated, because you're the only one that, obviously like they're in charge of their own, success to a point. As artists, they have to promote themselves and everything. But, I'm responsible for this building, like this shop staying open, and, the hourly employees and them having a job, like all of that's on my shoulders to make sure that that's all running smoothly and everything is successful. I'm always worried about that. I'm always worried that everyone else is okay. And there's always that assumption that you're in charge, you've got it all figured out. And we have to just kind of like maintain this facade that we fucking got it all together, because we don't want anyone to worry. We don't want them to lose confidence in us. But, sometimes we're in the background just steadily fucking patching up the holes in our self-confidence because we're taking hits left and right. But, those are things that we have to kind of keep to ourselves, and we're just carrying this weight and responsibility And, there's no one out there helping like carry our our weight around either. So it just kind of it makes you feel, like you're part of the crew, but you're also in charge of the crew. It's hard. It's hard to not feel lonely out there carrying all the weight. Number 9, there's just less people in general who get it, who get you. If we look at just numbers alone, most people are not leaders or business owners, which means that the business owner friend pool is pretty fucking small. And finding people in that small pool that you connect with and have shared interests with and ideas with will be pretty fucking slim pickings. And once you do find some friends in that pool, the only ones who get it are probably too busy also to even hang out. So it's like you find those people and you're like, yes, I finally found somebody who understands and they get it and they're really cool to talk to and we have stuff in common. Like, but our schedules don't align, or their days off are my work days. Like, fuck. Back to like, not being able to hang out with anybody. So it, that's a fucking rough one, because I do have some really cool friends that are business owners or even like tattoo shop owners, but like there's no way, like it's very rare that we're going to get to hang out. Number 10, your definition of relaxing looks nothing like other people's idea of relaxing. Sometimes relaxing to me is just getting things checked off my to-do list or finishing a project that's been looming over me. It's sometimes really hard to pull myself away from a really long to-do list and ongoing projects, and long enough to just like enjoy a day sitting by the pool and relaxing. And not that any of this is right or wrong, guys. Relaxing is different for everyone. And it took me a long time to come to this conclusion that relaxing for me could be writing an episode or like doing something work related. It can be relaxing, and I will fucking die on this hill. These people that like tell me that relaxing has to look like going to a fucking spa or like going like sitting by the pool or getting a massage, like those things don't have to mean relaxing to me. I'm not going to continue on that rant, but my relaxing can look very different than like other people, like normal people relaxing. What other people will try to tell you is or isn't relaxing. If that doesn't align with you, you're going to have a really hard time hanging out with them, I just spent the entire day with my friend Rachel, who owns the Sidebar in Baltimore, and she's been renovating it and fixing it up for a long time, and it's finally at the painting stage. And I volunteered to go down there and hang out and paint the fucking ceilings, because to me, that is relaxing. That's a relaxing, fun thing I can do to unwind from all of the traveling that I just did. And I know that probably doesn't sound like fun to most people, but I actually enjoy painting. Well, I enjoy painting walls. Ceilings, let me just be clear. Ceiling, bullshit. I don't want to paint a ceiling ever again in my life. But I mean, I did have fun hanging out with my friend, and it was like mindless. Like, I love having a project that I can only focus on what I'm doing, and my mind can't go a million miles an hour and think about all the things and like the to-do list and stuff. So that literally is relaxing to me. Anything that pulls me out of my head and into what I'm doing, like in the moment, that's relaxing. And I don't care who disagrees with that. Number 11, you love what you do and you love working and you're obsessed with it and you don't make time for much else. And this is another one that I've been struggling with back and forth for a while. People want to shame and guilt me for working like it's a bad thing. Like I'm supposed to want to do something else with my time. Why? Why do I have to? Like, why can't I just love what I do and love being here and love doing things related to my career and my business and getting closer to my goals? Who says I can't do that? Who exactly is in charge here? Because I'm pretty sure it's me, and I'm saying this is what I love doing and this is what I want to do, and you don't get to tell me any differently. That's the whole point of having my own business, so I can do what the fuck I want when I want, right? And people don't like that. People want to tell me that that I should want to do other things that are not business related, but sometimes all I want to do is business stuff. And I know people don't get that and people don't like that and they don't understand. And it's hard to find other people who do get that. Number 12, you're never really off work as a business owner. And I know this is something that people really like strive for. And it's like the goal is to be able to leave work and not think about work and, just take a vacation and not have to worry about what's happening back at the shop. But I literally don't believe people when they say that. I don't believe people that take vacations and they're like, I didn't think about work at all. Bullshit. You're a liar. You're a fucking liar. That's like having children and going away for the weekend and you have a babysitter that you trust, or maybe they're with your mom and dad and you trust them with your life, you trust them with your children's life. That's like saying, I'm not going to think about my kids while I'm gone all weekend. Bullshit. Your business is your child. You're going to fucking think about it when you're not at work. There's no way around that. Part of you is always going to be back at the shop thinking about to-do lists, thinking about things you need to work on or handle when you get back. So you're never fully present when you're not at work. And a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people don't want to hang out with somebody who is going to bring the conversation back to work, which I do understand. That one I get. Like, it's like, CrossFit people. You hang out with CrossFit people, the conversation always comes back to CrossFit. Being a former CrossFit person, I get it. But like, I understand. Like, so in order to, like it has to be somebody who gets that. This has to be somebody who understands like conversation is going to come back to work. Conversation is going to come back to the shop. And it's hard to find people that get that. It's hard to find people who are going to be okay with that. So, it's one thing to love your job and enjoy working, but if you're going to spend time with someone, you do have to like, especially if you've agreed to do something other than work, you do have to probably be somewhat present. And it's hard to stop. It's a very blurred line. I get it. But obviously, this isn't helping us make friends and keep friends if we can't just like check out a little every once in a while and go to dinner and try not to talk about work. But it's kind of a lonely feeling when you're, like you have to try so hard to just be fucking normal in a public situation like that. It's rough. Number 13, you want to get the fuck away from people when you're not working. This is me 1000%, where I'm like, I wish I had more friends. I wish I had someone to hang out with. But then at the same time, when I'm not working, I'm like, the idea of being around people sounds like a fucking nightmare. Especially if you're the person that everyone comes to with their problems and questions and discussions, and it's just mentally exhausting. So after a long day or a long week of putting out fires and being everyone's problem solver and everyone's therapist, the last thing that you have any kind of brain space left over for is social activities. These are my issues with being a business owner, trying to have friends, trying to create relationships and, fight the loneliness. I had to actually Google some solutions because I really couldn't think of any. What kind of episode would this be if I just sat here and bitched and complained about how it's lonely being a business owner and I didn't have actual solutions for you? So I'm trying. I don't know if I believe these. I got them literally. I just Googled like how to be less lonely as a business owner. And this is what Google says. Take it with a grain of salt if you like, but I don't have it all figured out. And I wasn't sure if I was the only one feeling like this or not, because like I said, not many people talk about this. And apparently there are people out there, but I couldn't find much on Google either. So, but some of the suggestions that I did find were, number one, find people that give you energy and leave you feeling better than they found you, and get around them more in your off time and avoid the energy suckers. This makes a lot of sense to me. Is it always possible? Maybe not, but it's easy to get yourself into another situation outside of work where you're someone else's go-to for like advice and problem solving. I find myself in this situation constantly. If you're anything like me, you're kind of naturally going to end up being someone else's like emotional dumping ground. And that doesn't exactly make you feel less lonely or less alienated. So, seeking out people that bring the good vibes and being with them is just fun and they relax your nervous system and they put you at ease and you don't feel like you need to perform or be anything other than yourself with them. Maybe that's the key. And maybe once you find them, making it a point to get around them as much as possible. And when you find the energy suckers and figure out who those people are, putting as much distance between you and them as possible. Number 2, join or build a peer community. I have opinions about this, but join or build a peer community, the kind of community that you'll actually need. Finding like-minded people is so important. I do get that. People who get what you're going through and the struggles and challenges you face and who understand. And when you have something to celebrate, they celebrate with you, why this is something to celebrate and not just be like, yay, go you. I have no idea why that's good. Like they actually understand. Just having that little bit of support from someone, even outside of your own industry, can make a world of difference for you. However, that's kind of a slippery slope because if you're trying to feel less lonely in your business, I'm not really sure that finding people outside of your business and like creating a community of other like business people who like I can just picture that being a bunch of business people sitting around complaining about how it's lonely in their shop or in their business. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like that's supposed to replace the feeling of loneliness in your shop, but I don't know. That's a suggestion from Google. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. If it helps you, cool. Number 3, get in person, not on social media. This one, 1000% I agree with. Having these communities and peer groups online, that's great and all, but nothing beats an in-person, face-to-face conversation and experience. The online world can feel so fucking fake and shallow and just disconnected and sometimes leave you feeling more lonely than when you started. And, looking for opportunities to get together in person with these people that you have things in common with in real life, like-minded people, even if it's only once a month or every other month, I think it's so important and can really change everything and just completely like bring your mood back. Number 4, create deeper connections at work. So this one I agree with. And it's another one that's kind of tricky. It's like, yeah, it's real nice to say, but how realistic is it? And, how easy is this actually going to be? So even with this great divide between owner, employee, or manager and crew, whatever your situation is, there's still always room to make some kind of connections with people in your business. So if maybe they don't understand you on every level, but find other ways to connect with them and form closer friendships with them that doesn't feel inappropriate or, feels more reciprocated and doesn't drain the life out of you. That could just be finding common ground or a common interest and leaning into that. It's easy to do, but, in the back of your mind, you're still always going to feel like it's a little bit off, but if you can lean into those similarities and lean into those common interests, like maybe that will take some of the edge off of, feeling that loneliness. Number 5, find a mentor. I can't pretend to help you figure this one out. This one is all, internet suggestion. Finding a mentor sounds really nice. Having someone to go to for support, to answer your questions, to help you brainstorm solutions, cool. I do feel like this one is easier said than done. This potential mentor has to also be invested and interested in your success, in helping you. And I just find that most people who know more than I do are doing more than me and have, way less time than I have. And they have way better things to be doing than spending time talking to me or helping me. That being said, they are out there. They do exist. Maybe I just haven't found the right person yet. Maybe having this belief that they're hard to find is preventing me from opening my eyes to an opportunity. But so let the record show I'm open to the idea of it, and I'll be an active participant in finding this magical unicorn of a person from this point forward. But until then, my mentors, I say, quotations, will have to be people that have no idea who I am or that they've helped me in any way, because all of my mentors right now are people who have podcasts or online courses or webinars that I listen to or participate in, and they'll probably never know that I exist. But that's probably as close as I'm going to get to a mentor anytime soon. Number 6, have a non-work community group. Another internet recommendation that I just don't really know about. I will say when I played roller derby that I had a fantastic community group that I was a part of, supportive friends, teammates, no shortage of people to choose from. However, that also required a huge time investment that I no longer have to offer. So the idea of joining another community like that seems pretty far-fetched to me, but maybe a less serious community, maybe like a softball team that practices once a week, or a church community if you're into that sort of thing, or maybe you're into D&D or video games, or you can find a community that way. I think for me, if I'm if I'm going to be declaring things out loud in real time on this episode, I'll be choosing like a snowboarding community, like at least for the winter. So if you're in the mid-Atlantic Northeast area and want to come fucking snowboard with me, that's what's up. I have an epic season pass. I'm down anytime. Snowboarding is one of the few things that I will drop everything to do, at least for now in this era of my life. But I'm down to shred whenever you're ready. Number 7, lastly, from my own suggestion box, from me to me, stop taking shit so seriously. So it's okay to have fun while you're working. And I'm telling myself this, like, I do have fun. Like if I'm tattooing, I'm having a great time. Like if I'm just working on a tattoo and I don't have to think about all the bossy boss shit, I can have a great time and laugh and joke around, whatever, like not a care in the world. It's when all the other stuff catches up with me and I think about the other half of the business that I have to worry about. That I have the tendency to get real serious. So it's okay to just let up on the grip and just kind of enjoy some things about it. If you're a business owner, you built all of this, whatever the reason you did it for. I'm sure it wasn't so that you could be alone and unhappy. There's also a really good chance that there are people in your corner, in your shop, and on your crew that really do want the best for you. And they would love to have a better relationship with you in whatever capacity that they're able to, if you just let them. And we have to find those little pieces of this that make it all worth it. For me, shifting my thoughts around the entire idea of owning a business has made the biggest impact on me, on how I feel at work. So when I stop looking at my business as a way to support me in my life, and I start looking at it as a way to support others and help them to build a life and a way to build a community, it gives it all so much more meaning. And I think that's the only way that this works. If you're only in it for yourself, you're never going to survive it, because it's only going to beat you down over and over again. But if there's something bigger than you that you're fighting for, you will never give up on that.